The new Halloween mode in Overwatch 2 seems to suggest a new future for the game. Let's have a look. Season 13 of Overwatch 2 has been out for a few days now, and I'm going to be honest, I spent about 90% of that time playing the new Halloween PvP mode. If you have seen my Season 13 breakdown of the trailer, you know I was rather skeptical about this new game mode. Well, that kind of changed. I mean, it still really isn't a Halloween mode, but it sure is a lot of fun. I'm having a blast fine-tuning all of my heroes' abilities. This game mode really helps me to lean into my playstyle. But I do have some comments. Now you might ask, why do your comments matter? This is just a limited time game mode, isn't it? Well, when I was playing that mode, I noticed they put in a lot of effort, a lot of work in the way that you can select all of these talents and how they communicate them to yourself and to other players. To be blunt, they put in way too much work if this is just going to be a limited time game mode. This feels like something else is going on. Something is afoot. See, a few months ago they did this test, a quick play hack called pickable passives. We could pick our own passive per role to kind of make it fit our playstyle. And just as we can switch heroes in the spawn room, we could also switch passives. I personally liked that experiment a lot. It added something fresh to the game. It allowed you to customize the identical same heroes that other people might be playing, but to make it more of your own, which not only was fun, but it also kind of helped with counter swapping, or at least a tiny bit. Now, at that point, a lot of you suggested that they go all in with this feature and that they provide passives for every single hero. I personally pushed back on that idea. The main reason for me pushing back was that it kind of complicates the game a little too much. See, I used to occasionally play Paladins, a game that originally started out as an Overwatch clone, but it found its own voice, its own thing. One of those things was that you could set your own loadout for every single hero, much like you do in a MOBA. But that was actually one of the reasons why I stopped playing Paladins. I personally just wanted to jump in a game and not bother with all of that stuff. For new players, those systems are daunting. So I was not a fan of bringing something like that concept into Overwatch. And recently I started playing Deadlock, Valve's new MOBA shooter. It has some similarities with Overwatch because it is a hero-based shooter, but it is a very different game. They do, however, have a shop where you can buy these passives that will adjust your abilities. Their problem is that they have 4 categories with each about 40 to 50 choices. I'm not trying to get a degree in Deadlock. Come on, stop it. Luckily, they found a solution. They have these pre-made loadouts that are made by the community that you can load straight from the game into your own experience. And that will suggest which passives you could pick best for that hero, at least according to that community member. You can vote up all of these loadouts and whatnot, so there's a whole system behind that. So I decided to just use that and not bother about all of the options. The only thing I do is pew pew. And now we get this new kind of loadout system within Overwatch for the Halloween mode. And I find myself loving it, apart from the earlier mentioned comments, but I'll get to those in a second. Look, we know that the Overwatch team, Team 4, is working on a big feature. Last week there was a job opening on the Blizzard website in which they are looking for a product marketing manager for a 6-month contract that is supposed to help them to launch a new major feature for Overwatch 2. Now, if you go back and look at that job opening, they changed the text, but it was there. I've seen it. And to be fair, Overwatch needs a big major feature. After they axed PvE, they shifted to PvP. That was going to be their sole focus. But just releasing new heroes, new maps, new game modes, it's not enough. It's not going to cut it. The game needs to evolve. Way beyond that. And a talent system like this one could be the thing that helps the game evolve, that gets Overwatch back on top. Now, before some of you start yelling at me, if they really plan to do this, I don't think they're just going to force it into quick play and comp. I think this is going to be a separate card within the unranked and the ranked tabs. Now, if it turns out that this becomes the most popular mode that everybody's playing, they might shift some things around. But they'll need to find some solutions to those issues first. So let me get to them. First off, the counter swapping. In this Halloween mode, you cannot switch heroes, and it's one of the most annoying things in that game mode. Now, since it is arcade, I just live with it, but in a more competitive setup, this would be a problem. Now, I think one of the reasons why you can't swap is because you need to make choices in all of these cards, and once you swap heroes, you need to catch up with all the previous choices you made, and that is going to take time. Now, if you're very familiar with the hero that you're playing, you might be able to do that in 5 seconds. If you're not that familiar with the hero, it might take quite a while longer. And Overwatch is a very fast-paced game. Having one of your team members being in spawn for 20 seconds as they click cards is going to be a problem. There are, however, ways around that. For instance, if you play the Halloween mode and you backfill, they just give you some random cards, but that is not really an enjoyable experience. They could work with presetting your loadouts, but again, that won't allow you to kind of pivot around certain situations. So, yeah. it's not going to be an easy issue to fix. Then pushing back on the counter-swapping a little bit would also help, and they're doing that. They're going to be doing more of that in the next few months. But to a certain extent, counter-swapping is in the DNA of Overwatch. It's part of that core experience. A second issue in that Halloween mode is the randomness with which you get options for all of these cards. It brings a certain random element to the game that might backfire. But again, there are ways around that. And the third issue, which is a bit of a given, is that some of the choices you get in that Halloween mode are just bonkers. Seriously, a diva with shotguns? What? That all being said, there are some big advantages to having a talent system in a game like Overwatch. It gives players the ultimate level of agency, a choice in the way that they play their character. For instance, they did these big Sombra changes in Season 13. I've been getting two different types of feedback. Some people love it because it fits their playstyle, it is more of the direct damage, they enjoy it, while others hate it with a passion, with the fire of 1,000 suns. Was it 1,000 nuns? I don't know. You know what? Both sides of that argument are valid, because in Overwatch 2, more than ever before, two players can have a very different approach to one singular hero. And the problem for Team 4, for the Overwatch team, is that they can't please all these different sides, all these different playstyles, unless they give you the option to tune your hero according to your own playstyle. You want the old Sombra back where you put your translocator in a corner and you teleport towards it when you get in trouble? Fine. You know what? I'm going to add 20% of damage to my virus in case my target is hacked. You want a Kiriko that throws explosive kunai knives? Go for it. But I'm going to make her heal when she teleports to you. For the Overwatch team, it's going to be a bit more of a puzzle, but by putting some of those tools in our hands, we can shape our own experience and our playstyle. And they just need to service all of the options. It will also change the way that these games kind of are being played. For one, if they want to allow you to make enough choices, they'll need to add extra rounds to quick play. It's going to be 3 out of 5 instead of 2 out of 3. And I'm not sure how they can deal with push hybrid with the escort matches, but overall, a game can pivot really hard in the middle of the match, depending on what choices your teammates have made. It adds this whole new strategic layer, where at some point, some heroes might be able to combine their choices and just roll over the enemies, unless they manage to counter that. It allows teams to work together on a whole different level. And if your team does not want to work together, you can build a hero that works pretty well on itself. I think this whole concept might be so much fun. And as you noticed, I'm getting pretty excited about all of this. But I need to chill. I need to calm down, because for one, this could just be an isolated event. But that would really surprise me. But more importantly, the second point is that they still have a lot of work to do if they're going to do this. I don't think this is a Season 14, a Season 15, or even a Season 18 feature. It will take some time. In the meanwhile, we might get another quick play hacked where they service some other side aspects of all of this. And at that point, I'll make another one of these videos. But what do you think about talents in Overwatch? Let me know in the comments. For now, however, that was it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out. I also want to thank my patrons. I could not make these videos without you guys. I have my eternal gratitude. If you have a few minutes left, maybe check out this video. Click it. But above all, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.